All right, give me a thumbs up if you can see the NIU School of Nursing slide. Excellent. Thank you. Well, good evening and welcome. We're so excited that you've taken some time to join us tonight to learn more about our online graduate nursing programs at Northern Illinois University. My name is Anna Richardson, and I am the Director of Online Learning here at NIU. And I really hope that you'll find tonight's event helpful, both in learning more about our online nursing programs, as well as hearing directly from our current graduate nursing students and faculty that are teaching in the program. So, just a few quick housekeeping items. This meeting is being recorded. If you experience any audio issues throughout the session, you can always check which speakers your device is using by clicking the arrow next to the mute/unmute button. This is also where you can check your volume settings. If these options are not working for you, you do also have the option to just, use your phone to dial into the event. And if you'd like to turn on captioning, there is also a caption button on the bottom bar of your screen. Here's a quick overview of some of the important Zoom tools that you do have at your fingertips tonight. As we go through, the slides, please keep your microphones muted just for the time being. However, do feel free to use the chat function to ask any questions that may come up as we move through the agenda. Our NIU team is here to answer those questions for you in real time. And then towards the end, we will have a Q&A session where you are absolutely welcome to come off mute and turn on your cameras. As advertised, all of tonight's attendees will be eligible for an application fee waiver if you do choose to apply to one of our grad nursing programs, which is a total $60 value. To claim your waiver, you'll first just need to start your application with the graduate school, and then you can email online at niu.edu, letting us know that you've started it, as well as which email address you use to do so. You can also just email me, or you can email Corbin directly if that's easier. I do have our contact information on the next slide. We'll then work directly with the grad school to get that redeemed for you. Corbin, it might be helpful to just drop a link to the grad school application in the chat for easy access.
I'll grab that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. Pardon my cat there. So moving on to tonight's agenda, we will kick things off with just some quick introductions of the NIU team. We'll then provide a quick overview of NIU as an institution, our School of Nursing, and the Office of Online Learning before we then move into our student panel and then our faculty panel. Again, we'll end tonight with some time for you all to ask any questions that you might have for our current students, faculty, or staff that are here tonight. All right, so some quick introductions. Let's start with Dr. Marcia Cooke.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're so excited to have you here. My name is Dr. Marcia Cooke, and I am the Director of Graduate Nursing Studies. I am also faculty in the School of Nursing and have been at the School of Nursing since 2017. My background is in nursing education and leadership. That's primarily where I've spent most of my career. And I do have a DNP, but my track is outcomes performance, which is a little bit different than the traditional leadership education or FNP track. So excited to have you here.
And Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Lyons. I'm the graduate nursing academic counselor for NIU. So I work with students who are admitted to the program. We create their plan of study, talk about kind of their career goals, kind of their goal for a timeline of getting their degree, and yeah, kind of all sorts of things. So if you're in the program and have a question, I'm a good person to start with. I can usually point you in the right direction. I've been at NIU for 10 years. I've taught in the undergrad program, as well as some of the nurse practitioner internships. But I've been in this role for the last 7 years. So thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks, Sarah. And Dr. Tanzillo.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Tanzillo, and I've been at NIU for 6 years now. Yes, 6 years. So I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been a nurse practitioner for 21 years, primarily in internal medicine. And in the recent past 5 years, I've transitioned to a functional medicine role. I still do teach clinicals, take students and precept them, along with teaching didactics in women's health, pathophysiology, and I'm also involved in the DNP program. And my current position, along with being a clinical assistant faculty, is also FNP director. So I help facilitate the internships and oversee the various moving parts to that. And we're excited to have you here tonight.
Excellent. Thank you. And Jerry?
Hello, my name is Jerry Reynolds. I am the internship coordinator. I have been at NIU for 15 years, but I've been in this specific role for the past 6 years. So I look forward to potentially working with everybody in the future. So welcome.
Thanks. And Corbin?
Thanks for being here. My name's Corbin, and I help students with doing their application and any kind of like questions up front about the program. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, and thanks for being here.
Excellent. Thanks. And again, I'm Anna Richardson. I am the Director of Online Learning here at NIU, and I oversee the Office of Online Learning. So a little bit about the Office of Online Learning. We really exist to make your experience as a fully online student better. So we sort of function as the one-stop shop for online student support, and we support students in the programs represented here tonight from point of inquiry all the way through to graduation. We are here to help you with anything and everything. And if we don't know the answer to something, we can certainly find it for you or get you connected with the right person that does. And as Corbin mentioned, he serves as the online student success specialist for all of our graduate nursing programs and will really kind of function as a partner for you as you move through your program. So Corbin will help you learn about your program of interest and assist you through the application process. He will enroll you in your classes each semester and then can also, help you if you need to drop or withdraw at any point as needed. He will provide you with information about the many resources that are available to you at NIU and again, can also facilitate getting you connected with other units. You'll hear from Corbin a lot. He will consistently check in with you each semester, really to just see how things are going, but also to remind you of key university deadlines and program specific dates. He can also help you navigate the virtual environment, help you problem solve, and provide some guidance and coaching as you move through your program, as well as connect you with some professional development opportunities and resources available at NIU. So real quick, at a glance, Northern Illinois University was founded in 1895 and officially opened its doors in 1899 as the Northern Illinois State Normal School. We are physically located about 65 miles west of Chicago in lovely DeKalb, Illinois, and we do hold institutional accreditation by the Higher Learning Commission. We are also an R2 research institution, so we fall within the high research activity category of the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, and we are also a member of the Association of Public and Land Grant Universities. As of the fall 2025 semester, NIU's total enrollment sat at around 16,000, with over 1,300 of those students being fully online. And now let's take a quick look at some of the key accolades of our School of Nursing. So first, our MS in Nursing program is highly distinguished, ranking among the top 100 online nursing programs according to US News and World Report. We're also proud to share that 95% of our graduates do secure employment within 1 year of graduation, which really demonstrates the strong demand for NIU's nursing professionals. In 2024, the School of Nursing achieved an incredible milestone with a 100% pass rate on the American Academy of Nurse Practitioners Certification Board exam, again, really further showcasing the quality of our programs. Our commitment to diversity and inclusivity in nursing has also been recognized. So for the third time since 2017, NIU School of Nursing was named a Best School for Men in Nursing by the American Association for Men in Nursing. And lastly, we are honored to have members of our School of Nursing team who have been recognized with the 2025 Nurse Educator Award, further emphasizing the excellence of our faculty. So these accolades, really highlight the quality, the success, and the impact of our School of Nursing, and NIU is really, really proud of these achievements. So
Anna,
next up,
Can I
yes,
just add here's a late breaking news. We just received our pass rate for our FNP, one of our FNP certification exams, and that's 100% for 2025 as well. So that's kind of hot off the presses.
excellent. Thank you. I will have to update that. All right, so next up, we are absolutely thrilled to have some of our current students here tonight to share a little bit about their experiences in the program and, more generally as online students. So we have Karen Podolsky and Paige Medinsky here from our MS to DNP program, and Jennifer DeMay here from our MS in Nursing Family Nurse Practitioner program. So let me stop sharing my screen here and we will get our panelists spotlighted. All right, excellent. So thank you for being here again. Really, the value of hearing from current students cannot be overstated. So we appreciate you taking the time tonight. So I guess, first, maybe let's just start with how far along you are in your program, which program you're in, and then what made you choose NIU's grad nursing program over others. Let's start with Karen.
Sure. So how far along? I will graduate in December. So I'm close. I'm just so close getting there. I just this week started my project. It's like, let's give happy to me for that. I was it the question? I think the question was why'd I choose this over? There was no other choice. I'm a Husky for life. I'm a BS, MS, MPH. I live about a half hour away, so there just was no other choice. I'm dedicated to NIU and the offering it has. I'm very proud to be a NIU nurse. Yeah, so that's my story.
Excellent. Thanks. Jennifer.
So I am in my last year as well, graduate this December. I'm halfway through my second clinical. So I'm doing pediatrics right now. And the reason I chose this program, after I graduated with my BSN, which I did 8 years into being a nurse, I spent a full year at schools. And I think I actually was on the US and World Report website a few times reviewing schools. But NIU really checked all my boxes. It was the cost, the fact that there was a physical location that was really important to me. I'm about 2.5 hours from kids. And I really like that they have the internship coordinator as well.
Well, thank you. Congrats to both of you on being so close to being done. And Paige.
I'm not close to being done. I just started. I'm on my second semester. But I really liked the NIU program because I liked how they had a healthcare leadership, a DMP focus on healthcare leadership. That was really important to me because it matched my intended career path moving forward. So I was also impressed by all that they do to help new students and like hosting these events, online and everything. And really impressed by the expertise of the faculty, the smaller class sizes, especially in an online environment. And I really liked how they had the different days that you could meet in person and just kind of see and it's not just, first semester students, it's, all the students, and you're kind of talking to each other about, your project ideas and everything like that. So I just really appreciated that. I'm so happy with my choice.
Excellent. Thank you. You may have just started a couple semesters ago, but it'll go by fast.
Yes.
It'll go by fast. Okay. So how manageable has the workload been while balancing work and, other personal responsibilities, life obligations, and so on? KP.
I think it kind of ebbs and flows from semester to semester, depending on what the classes are. Some are a little more challenging than others. I think I am fortunate. I have a very supportive workplace that is, focuses on academics anyway. So that's been helpful to be able to support that. But overall, it has been manageable. I make it work. I make it work. Yeah.
What? Jennifer.
So I there was like I think there's three different tracks for time frame for the F&P program. So I chose to be part-time. So I'm doing about the most I will do is 7 credit hours this semester. And I would say the first year was kind of rocky, just getting kind of used to the flow of things. But I've just been organized, just try to keep a schedule. Right now, I'm working weekends. I work full time on the weekend and I do clinical during the week. So lots of meal prepping, listening to lectures in the car. But I think nurses in general were pretty resilient. So you just kind of learn how to get through it.
I love that. And I think you touched on something really important. As you come back to school and you think about adjusting, right, to being a student again and figuring out when you're going to do your classwork, when you're going to do the other life things, like giving yourself some grace that first semester as you adapt to new circumstances is so important. And then after that, you've got it and you make it work. Paige.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The first semester was a little rough, coming back from being out of school for about 8 years, I think. So I'm also a mother of two very, very active little boys. So again, it was important for me to choose this program because allows me to stay involved with their school activities, their school functions, while continuing to work full time Monday through Friday as a leader in one of the in an organization, and I also serve on a chair for an education committee in an Illinois sponsored organization. So initially, I was very nervous about balancing everything, but I found it to be manageable. You have to have strong time management and organizational skills, but that's like the general skills that you have to have being a nurse. So again, the first semester, give yourself a little bit of grace because the first semester was a little rough, but then I was able to, this semester is so much better, I think. And I think I'm getting the flow of things.
Excellent. Let's see here. So what has been the most challenging part of the program so far, and how did you overcome it? KP.
I'm sure. I think, Jennifer alluded to this as well. I think Anna, you mentioned something about, you know, the online environment. I think it was at the beginning the most challenging because it was different than the last time around. So I think navigating Blackboard and understanding those responsibilities and the discussion boards and the following through and all of that. And it goes along with time management as well. But I think that was the most, challenging navigating that department. I overcame it. I have a daughter that's graduating from nursing school in May. And I think that was helpful because she was able to kind of help me understand and gave me the tips and tools and, download this add-on to your Chrome and it will tell you how many assignments you have left. So I think it was just kind of utilizing a variety of resources. I think the great part about this program is the communication. So I think, Corbin is amazing. Sarah's amazing about making sure you have Jerry, she hound you down for those clinical requirements. So I think the communication is top notch in terms of keeping on track and getting things done and getting things organized as well. So I think that was helpful in terms of helping me overcome those first challenges of getting my feet wet in that environment.
I love that. And I love that you and your daughter are kind of, going through it together. That's awesome. Jennifer.
Initially, probably time management, just like, how am I going to get everything done? But eventually you adapt. And then I would say my first year, I was so scared of biostatistics. I was like, oh my goodness. But I actually loved the class. I learned so much on how to approach research. And I completed a project using SPSS software. And I actually loved the class, even though up front I was very scared to take biostatistics.
That's great. Thank you. And Paige.
Yeah, I would agree with the biostats. That was a little challenging for me. I spent a lot of my time in that class because it's been just so long. But it was so all the resources and everything was really great. Also with just organization because right now where I'm currently at, I'm organizing a lot of research and looking through a lot of research. So I had to find a way to organize in a way that works for me, because what works for me may not work for everyone else. So that's kind of been a little bit of a challenge, but developing those systems for yourself and being able to track research and everything has been extremely helpful. So.
Excellent. How have you been able to build relationships or, just community in general within your program? KP.
I think probably starting with immersion day in terms of identifying those that are in the same track as you are, or as I am, so that I was able to build a sense of community where we communicate with each other. So starting like in the discussion boards, and you kind of get to know the name, and then you got to kind of understand what projects people are working on or where people work. A lot of people work in the same organization I do, so just a big, health system. So we kind of get to know each other. So we help navigate the nuances of where we work and getting projects done, as well as, even if we're not at the same organization, kind of understanding what people are working on and focusing on, and the trials and tribulations of a project. And now I had to start a different project or this type of thing, and kind of we're all in the same boat. And it's actually been very rewarding to me, because even though I'm a nurse, I'm one of the few nurses in my department. So it's been great to be able to connect with other nurses and think like-minded, and from an evidence-based practice type of standpoint. So I think it's just been a great networking opportunity that I really needed.
That's great. Do not underestimate the value of a group chat with your classmates. So valuable. Jennifer.
So, an online environment, it is challenging sometimes to build those relationships, but it's so fun to, you grow with these people over the semesters. You kind of see the same people in your classes, and then we do the live case studies and discussion boards, and then you see your fellow classmates for OSCEs and skills days, and it's just really neat to kind of touch base, see how everyone's doing.
Paige?
Yeah, I like being able to see, especially at Immersion Day, where everyone is at in their projects. And it's so exciting to see how everyone's growing with the program as well, how supportive the staff and the faculty are too for us. And they're like really the cheerleaders behind the scenes, helping guide us. And we, take care of each other too. And if someone's, struggling, you could give pointers and everything. I love the discussion board concept of that, and you start to grow and learn with others, and it's wonderful.
Great, thank you. How would you say that this program has prepared you for your next career step?
I would say maybe not my next career step, but I think it's given me this, because I kind of out where I want to be for my career at this point. However, it's given me the skills to look at my role a little bit differently, and thinking about, so I work in a like a community health type of setting. So thinking about interventions and ensuring things are evidence-based, and following a process, and literature review, and kind of thinking about how we approach things more of as a science. I think that's where it's really helped prepare and be able to articulate how to do that in a confident way has really helped me throughout the program.
Jennifer.
I think that with each semester, you kind of build upon the knowledge that you learned. I remember first semester, we kind of reviewed like the AACN, the core competencies of being a advanced practice nurse, and you can kind of see throughout the coursework how you're building on that. And it's not just about like medications or assessment, but you're also learning ethics and philosophy of advanced nursing practice. So overall, just a very well-rounded education.
Fun. And Paige.
Yeah, I think that this is helping me grow within my current where I'm currently at, my current position. And it's really helping me look a little bit deeper into different problems and trying to find solutions, but as an on a evidence-based type scale, scientific scale as well. So this is, like I said in the beginning, that this is really aligned with kind of where my career path is directed towards. So again, continuing to grow, maybe not into another position, but as a person in the position that I'm currently at.
Love that. All right. So what has been your favorite class so far and why?
I would have to say population health. That's because it's my jam. So I soaked up every minute of it. So yeah, population health has been my favorite.
Excellent. Jennifer.
So far has been diagnostic reasoning is kind of a puzzle that you have to put together based on the patient's chief complaint and their history. And then you gather clinical data. Class kind of teaches you how diseases progress, what they look like, and then the reasoning and hypothesis forming to come to a diagnosis. So that was by far my favorite class.
Awesome. And Paige.
Well, so far, my favorite class truly is the quality improvement. I love quality improvement. So that has been one of my favorite classes. I love the assignments because that's kind of what I do currently now in my role. And now I'm able to think of different things and different ways to look at certain issues. So quality improvement, I love, 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 love.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that connection, between what you're learning in the virtual classroom, right? And immediately being able to apply it in your day-to-day work. I think that makes it just even more satisfying. I don't know if that's the right word, but learning is different when you can immediately apply it.
Right.
All right. Can you share a moment when you felt especially proud to be part of this program?
I had a moment, I have a lot of moments to be able to share. And I I think most recently I was able to share my project in order to obtain approval for my organization. Just part of a journey, kind of like an IRB, like a research project process, but it's not, it's more quality improvement. So having a conversation and pitching that to the individuals within our organization and how excited they were and like almost like cheerleading the efforts and thinking about just being there for me and supportive. I think I'm teared up thinking about it because it was like such a journey, but I was so excited to do that. So I think I was most proud of being able to articulate what I was going to accomplish as part of my project and having the organization support it and being there for me to be able to make it happen. So I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Jennifer.
I love that I am here now to share my experience. Looking back at my education here at NIU, I've really enjoyed my time here. This has been a very fulfilling experience. All of my instructors have been wonderful. And I'm a little sad that this is my last year, but I thinking about doing a study abroad program. That would be my next step, and I kind of want to do that. So
Exciting. I love it. And Paige.
Yeah, so I love this opportunity to be able to talk about my experience so far in the program, but I also like what really stood out to me was I had a moment of weakness. I think I met with Dr. Cooke, and we had a very, very good conversation. And I couldn't believe the level of support that I have received during that interaction. And that was like the turning point to me, like the light bulb started going off. And I was like, okay, I do have this. And I just liked having that cheerleader behind me, saying that, no, you really do have it. So it's refreshing to see how committed, the staff and even the students are, and really wanting people to succeed.
That's great. Shout out Dr. Cooke. That's great. All right. And final question. What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about applying?
I think that The time will never be perfect to apply. So apply, because in 2 years from now, it'll be 2 years from now type of thing. So I think that don't put it off, and go ahead and do it. I think it's been a very, very personally rewarding experience. So I say do it.
Thank you. Jennifer.
I would say make sure to know your why you want to pursue a advanced education in nursing, and just start getting all your ducks in a row. You can think of like what you're going to say in your personal statement, who's going to be your letters of recommendation. Make sure you have, as many of your personal records as you can, your immunization records and your nursing license and all your education, and just getting things prepared.
Great. Thank you. And Paige.
Yeah, I held off applying for a little bit, but just do it. You have to dive in. Make sure that you definitely pre-plan, especially if you have kids or, other life activities. Just make sure that you pre-plan, and just really all you have to do is apply. So I say go for it.
Excellent. And let's have a virtual round of applause for our fabulous nursing students. Now we will transition into our faculty panel. If you have any questions for the student panelists, feel free to put them in the chat. It looks like there's a lot of good conversation happening in there, so keep that going. But now we will spotlight Dr. Marcia Cooke and Dr. Tanya Tanzillo. All right. So could you begin by just telling us a little bit about your path to reaching your current position? So, thinking about educational background, as well as the roles you've held along the way.
Okay, so I started out as an undergrad at NIU back in the 80s, the good old days, and found out very quickly that I couldn't balance fun and school. So I quickly was dismissed from the program, grew up a little bit, and then went back to earn my BSN from Lewis University when I was 25. So I had to mature a little bit before I could really focus on what I needed to do. After that, I was super focused. I went right from my bachelor's degree to a master's degree from Loyola University. I jumped right in and had that by the time I was 30. So within 5 years after graduating, I already had a master's degree. I was pretty focused on what I wanted my career path to be. I enjoyed clinical nursing, taking care of patients, and I did that in the ICU and the emergency department. But I really found my passion in the administrative role. So I spent much of my career from the age of 30 until now in an administrative role. So in a director role, in a variety of different places. So I was the director of education, service excellence, clinical informatics for about 13 years. And then I transitioned to the American Hospital Association, where I was a director for a large professional organization for healthcare risk managers. So it was really cool to see healthcare from a different lens, to see, from the lens of the risk management professionals, patient safety professionals. Had a great time there, really learning a lot from them. And then at the American Hospital Association, I transferred into a job as director of clinical quality for several large quality improvement projects that were funded by the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality and the CDC. So that was really interesting because we facilitated projects, demonstration projects throughout the country. So my teams focused mostly on HAI prevention. So CAUTI, CLABSI, MRSA, C. diff. And we really we helped hospitals implement best practices. So I worked with acute care hospitals, I worked with intensive care units, long-term care, and ambulatory care. And it was really interesting to see how healthcare was delivered across the country. Because I grew up in the metropolitan Chicago area. I still live in the metropolitan Chicago area. So I never knew how rural healthcare was delivered. I didn't know how healthcare was delivered in critical access hospitals. So it really opened up my eyes to really some of the problems that we have is irrespective of the type of setting we work in. We have staffing issues, we have compliance issues, we have hand washing issues. So there was a lot of similarities and a bit of nuanced differences. So that was really exciting. And during my time there, I earned my DNP. So I have my DNP from Loyola, and my DNP is an outcomes performance. That was right kind of when the DNP was starting to stratify a little bit beyond the nurse practitioner role. So I left the American Hospital Association in 2017 to join the faculty at NIU, and I have been excited ever since then. I've taught graduate students, undergraduate students, doctoral students, so across the spectrum, and then took on the graduate director role in 2024. Um, Love every day I come to work, love every day I get to interact with students. Excellent faculty. We have wonderful conversations. Um, it's just a great experience overall. So that's kind of where I've come from and where I am now.
All right, so I guess it's my turn. I come from being a nurse. My undergrad was from University of Evansville. I've got a longstanding family history of nurses. My sister's a nurse, my mom's a nurse, my sister-in-law's a nurse. So it was kind of a fated thing. And loved being a nurse. Basically started in telemetry and ICU, and after about 10 years found out that I was just getting kind of tired of when the code bell would go off and it didn't, like inspire me anymore. And that was honestly when I thought about going back to get my nurse practitioner. I worked night shift. I loved it when it was just me and the patients, and there were moments where I could care less whether the doctor was there or not because it was me and the patients on the night shift. And that was my motivation to become a nurse practitioner and actually be able to own the care for those patients and really be their primary care provider. Really be that person that collaborates with them and helps them live their best life. And that was really my calling to be a nurse practitioner. Um, I was lucky enough to be within a health system that paid for my schooling. And so I got my MS from NIU. I don't even know when that was anymore, maybe like 2005, I think. It's been a while. Like I said, I've been a nurse practitioner for, good Lord, this is embarrassing to say, 21 years. So I've been doing this for a while. But I absolutely, where I kind of spent most of my time was adult internal medicine. So 15 years in that space. And during that time kind of found that, gosh, I felt like we were treating a lot of diseases and my passion was health and wellness, and accidentally fell into a functional medicine seminar trying to look for hormone corrections for my menopausal women or my perimenopausal women. At that point, somewhere in there, I decided to go back and get my DNP because I wanted to teach. And my dissertation, well, or my DNP at the time, was on motivational interviewing and men's health. So I have a huge focus on that as well, as women's health, and just kind of optimal wellness is kind of where my passion lies. I had my DNP, and one of my favorite things to do was to precept students as a nurse practitioner, show them the ropes. And so I did that over and over again. And that was really where it was like, you know what? I think at some point I'd love to teach. And that's really what kind of led me to get my DNP. And when the opportunity presented itself, then I kind of transitioned into being faculty or clinical assistant professor at NIU. And that's been 6 years now. And with Dr. Cooke being in the graduate role, I have stepped in to assist as the FNP director since I've got the NP background. So we work as a team with Jerry and Sarah very closely in trying to optimize the graduate program as a whole. So in post my postdoctorate, that's where I kind of fell into this functional medicine space. I actually went back and got a second master's postdoc in integrative or functional medicine. So I am board certified in both. And so currently work in a functional medicine space part-time. One of the things that we really encourage in that clinical track faculty is that we are still practicing. So we know what that looks like. And so we are sharing that knowledge with you. So you get really live, active case scenarios, and really try and tell you what that's going to look like. And when you start the program, really talk to you as a future nurse practitioner and what that's going to look like if you're in that track. Because that's what I want to do, is show you those ropes from the start and get you thinking like that provider, because it is a different mindset. And that's my journey so far. and love every minute of it. I get a little bit of both. I love to teach the students, and I absolutely love still being with my patients. So I have the best of both worlds right now, which is fantastic.
I love, hearing like the winding paths, right, of how you end up where you're at. It's always so fascinating. And you touched on something really important that I do want to say to this group of students here is if you have not checked with your employer about tuition reimbursement, about tuition benefits, make sure that you do to see what's available because that is very common for our grad students, especially our online grad students that are, working. Very common benefits to use.
Mhm.
So, how do you think our programs prepare students for the realities of today's healthcare environment?
Well, I mean, I think there's a variety of ways. Dr. Tanzillo pointed out that our FNP faculty are working nurse practitioners. So they are understanding the realities of what it is to be a nurse practitioner, not only in caring for the patients, but also the administrative side, the regulatory side. All of that goes into being a nurse practitioner. So they are very well aware of that, and they share that knowledge in the program as they go through. We also, as a program, really look at what's going on in the healthcare field. So we review the AHA workforce reports every year. We look at the statistics that come out of IDFPR in Illinois. What is the need for nurses? What is the need for nurse practitioners? We're both of us and our team are very active in specialty organizations. So I serve on various committees at AONL. I'm the Illinois Organization for Nursing Leadership coordinator of the statewide fellowship. So I stay in touch with 30 to 40 leaders who are practicing in the field every single day. So we stay very abreast of the realities so that we can make sure our students are prepared for that. Because there's nothing worse than, you get out, you get your degree and you're like, well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And that is really not the focus of what we do here. We are really preparing you for the reality of the work that you're going to be doing. We update our curriculum very regularly to make sure that we are staying abreast of what's happening. So our faculty are very, like Dr. Tanzillo and myself, very active in our own professional organizations, and we bring that back to the school. We love going to conferences and coming back with 85 ideas. The chair of the department is not as excited with the 85 ideas that we have every time we come back from a conference, but we certainly are. And we like to operationalize those and really think about how do we move our program forward? How do we keep innovating? So there's a lot that we do to make sure that you guys are prepared. And Dr. Tanzillo, I'll let you talk about your.
Yeah, I would say both in the FNP and the DNP, it really truly is trying to in achieving that DNP. And I know I had this question. I was the perpetual student, I guess, where I'd practice and then I'd go back to school and then I'd practice again a little some more and then I'd go back to school. So I did it piecemeal. But it was after being a nurse practitioner that I really wanted to make more changes within healthcare in and of itself. And that's really what the DNP teaches you to do is take it from that one-on-one problem of hypertension to how do I fix hypertension within my community if that's your passion. And really, really kind of, again, just as Dr. Cook mentioned, really being aware of kind of what the demands are, really talking with our community stakeholders. What are they looking for in regards to future leaders in nursing and what's the demand? Because we want you to graduate and be filling a need in that healthcare system. And there's huge needs for FNPs, leadership. Nursing has a great perspective because we spend time at that bedside. We know what that really looks like. And then being able to culture your strengths in leadership or in patient care or management, whatever that looks like. We're really trying to facilitate that in developing the DNP projects, and also in just developing you as nurse practitioners, if that's the track or the field you're in, or MS educators, because we have faculty that are also MS EDs and filling that role as well, because that role has been something that's fluxed and
Mhm.
gone in different directions over the time frame. Every time they get rid of the nurse educators, they realize we need them back again. So it's we're on the upswing of that again, which is fantastic.
Thank you. What does faculty mentorship look like in our program?
Well, there's a lot of ways. It's not necessarily a formal mentorship. There's a lot of informal mentorship. Our faculty are very open to meeting with students, to talking with students. I love Paige's example. You almost made me cry. That was something that I was co-teaching a course this semester, and Paige was thinking about her DNP project and was just wanted to run things by. So we did a quick ad hoc meeting and talked through it and talked through, what are you looking to do? What is your problem? What is your problem is a big question I ask all the time to DNP students, but there's a lot of faculty mentorship. So faculty are very invested in the student's success. Um, Myself, Dr. Tanzillo, and all the graduate faculty. So I would be hard pressed to say that there's any faculty who would not meet with the student if there is a need to meet with the student. We keep in touch with many of our students after graduation. Dr. Tanzillo and I have co-authored articles with our students. We have students who come back and are now teaching in our pre-licensure program. So there's a lot of opportunities for informal mentorship. We don't necessarily have a formal mentorship program, but yeah, anytime a student needs something from faculty, we are always here to support the students.
Yeah, and I think what I would add to that, for the most part, as Dr. Cook mentioned, is I think the programs that we have at this point aren't too big, right? We really want to keep that personal connection. I know who my students are. I know who's struggling. I'm emailing them if I'm like, "Where are you? Haven't seen you post something." So and Corbin also helps kind of support that as well. So we really do mentor students in multiple ways. And like I said, I think yeah, students graduate and Dr. Cook and I and others, co-author for their post DNP projects to help them. My goal is always to help you become a colleague of mine, to teach next to me, to work in a clinic next to me. That's kind of my biggest passion because that's what we're doing is cultivating that next future leader in nursing in whatever capacity they are going to fill that role. So yeah, I work-life balance isn't fantastic because I don't draw the line. Let's put it that way. So if you got to meet with me at 8 o'clock at night, and actually I'll have to hop off here shortly because I've got a live pathophysiology case study session to run. But we're constantly trying to connect with the students so that they really have a robust learning experience throughout the program.
And Sarah and Jerry are also very very integral to the work that we do and very involved with students. No, I mean many of them they're in contact with a lot. So we have a really good grad team that works with all the students.
So, in a similar vein, thinking about student support, thinking about work-life balance, as you both mentioned, how do you support students who are balancing work, family, and graduate study?
So I was 50 years old, 49. I wanted to graduate with my DNP before I was 50, and I did. So I had teenage daughters. I love the feral daughter quote, feral girls. I through that stage, they're in their 20s now, but I understand what that was like because I was working full time, three children who were in high school, a husband, a house, two dogs. So I understand what that's like. So we do understand that in the graduate program. So we're flexible when we can be. There are times where we can't be flexible, and there's times where we can be flexible. And what we really ask students is to just have open communication with us. If something's going on in your life that's unanticipated, let us know. We'll work with you to try our best to adjust assignments, adjust discussions, adjust workload. So we really try to have open communication with our students. And again, there's some things you can't be flexible on, but we do understand a lot of the challenges that adult learners have. Most are working, many have families or outside interests. So again, we understand that school is not the one and only priority in your life. So we just encourage open communication with our students all the time.
Yeah, and I would just second everything that Dr. Cook said. We really as long as you're communicating with us, we can be flexible when we can be flexible. I think one of the benefits is that probably almost all our faculty have been the adult learner and again, know what that balance required and entailed and appreciate the efforts that that graduate student is putting forth and know that the school is not your full-time gig. We absolutely 100% understand that. And as long as you give us a little bit of insight in regards to what's going on, we will make adjustments whenever it's possible for your success.
Thank you. What kinds of scholarly work are faculty currently engaged in?
So we have a whole variety and an entire spectrum of work that our faculty do with regards to scholarship activities. It could be doing work at the bedside. It could be doing some research on pain and other type of patient care issues. Myself, my scholarly work revolves around leadership. I'm a big proponent of using people's strengths. So right now I'm working with the I-O1L Fellowship on developing strengths in nurse leaders, and then evaluating those strengths as well as the leadership competencies in practice. So those are the types of scholarly activities I work on, but we have an entire variety. It kind of runs the gamut with all of the faculty.
And I would say one of the areas of scholarship I'm more in obviously that clinical practice role. So I like to help facilitate DMP projects in that aspect. Again, co-authoring with students, helping them through that process post graduation. And honestly, I would say maybe not. I don't know if you'd call it scholarly work, but I'm constantly looking at new ways or innovative ways to help facilitate this learning experience that students have online. We really don't want that to be flat or passive type of learning, so we're constantly attempting to engage in different ways to really help facilitate that. So that's a really active learning experience for the students.
Excellent. Thank you. How would you say that the program is adapting to changes in healthcare policy and workforce demand?
So like I mentioned before, we look at our curriculum. So recently we have gone an entire curricular revision that will start in fall of 2026. And it is based on new standards that were set forth by our accrediting body, the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. So they actually look into the field, what is happening, do a lot of research, and then update the standards based on that. So we recently have gone through an entire curricular revision, and it's interesting because it's focused on practical things, patient care things, quality improvement, but it's also focused on interprofessional collaboration and personal development. So it's not only are you a good clinician, but how are you personally growing? How are you working with others? Because again, whether we like it or not, healthcare is a team sport. So we really look at all of those types of things. And when you think about healthcare policy, a lot of the work we do either influences healthcare policy or was influenced by healthcare policy. So we have a very important role in facilitating policy and implementation of policy. Because remember, sometimes the policy makers, the people who bring the bills forward, who bring the changes forward, do not have a healthcare background. So nurses are instrumental in sharing what happens in reality at the bedside, in the care, in the care continuum. So we have a very important role. So we talk about that quite often in a lot of the didactic leadership type courses. In the FNP courses, you think about healthcare policy, it's reimbursement, it's regulatory, it's patient care requirements. So it really is kind of embedded in almost everything that we do.
I don't know that I've got anything to add to that.
Mic drop. Final question before we open it up to questions from our attendees. What advice would you give to someone considering applying?
I'm going with the Nike logo. Just do it. Like it was mentioned, there's never a good time. If you're thinking about it, one class at a time. You do one class at a time. That becomes 2 classes, 4 classes, 6 classes before you know what you're graduating. I have 2 daughters who are nurses and another daughter who's an engineer. Both one just applied to go back to school because she listened to what I had to say. Children don't listen to their moms, but it really is, there's never a good time. But there's also, you can also stop if you needed to. So, and you never lose those credits. So if you decide you're going to do 6 credit hours and then something happens in your life, you put it on hold for a semester, but you still have 6 credit hours behind you. So there's never a good time. Time goes by quickly. You never lose those credit hours. So if you start slow, you start slow. If you want to start fast, you start fast. We do variations for individual students on what you need to do to be successful and what you can handle in your life.
Yeah. And I would say one of, I think, the huge benefits is that nursing is such a flexible career, right? There's not many jobs that you can work 3 shifts or weekend program and those kinds of things, right? Business would probably love that idea, but we have the benefit of that as nursing. So, you end up getting creative. I ended up taking a weekend program position when I went back for my FNP, but yeah, I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old when I went back to school. So we have students that get married. We have students that, get pregnant, planned or not planned. And they're like, oh boy, how do I juggle this? And Sarah is excellent and working with students and trying to kind of retrack if they've got to take off a semester or something happens. And I did everything. It was like, I have a job, so I don't have to do this fast. And so I took a class and I took, just like Dr. Cook said, I took a class, I took another class, and all of a sudden I was a nurse practitioner. And then I worked for a little bit and then I was like, oh, all right, maybe I want to teach someday. And then I'm like, okay. Of course, that DNP was accelerated in 18 months and it was, whew, that was an experience. But it just works out. You do it when you figure it out. And like I said, I think you're always looking for a program that is willing to be flexible and know that you go through life things. And we can make those adjustments. But yes, there will probably never be a perfect time. Like there's a perfect time for anything. So sometimes it is just start and take one thing at a time. I'd say my biggest suggestion is just take that one class. Don't go nuts. Again, if you haven't been, I remember sitting in my first course, and I think someone even mentioned something, and I remember them saying blackboard, and I was like, I looked to the student next to me, and I'm like, what's Blackboard? I had no idea. It was our learning, well, LMS system. I don't even know what that stands for. And that was my first experience. And she's one of my best colleagues now, which is totally fun. Friends for 25 years at this point. But it's you'll just it'll open your world, I guess is what I'll say at the end of it all. It'll just open your world.
And the other thing is we also have a lot of students who start in one track, but then move to another one. So they might start in the nurse practitioner track and then they're in the courses and they're like, this really isn't what I thought it was going to be. So they'll move over to the nursing education track. So it's nice that there's that flexibility. We have the same thing. Students will then move into the D&P program because they're like, wow, I'm already in the school mode. I might as well keep going. So there is a lot of flexibility. So what you start in might not necessarily be what you get your degree in, but there's different options as well.
I love that. And I will add, with Blackboard being the system that we use, there is an orientation before you start classes that teaches you how to use it and kind of walks you through all of the steps. We also have a lot of how-to videos for those tech things. So there's always people here to help you navigate unfamiliar systems, unfamiliar virtual environments. Like we've got you in that regard. Virtual round of applause for our faculty panel. Now we can open it up. So if you have questions that you haven't asked in the chat, feel free to, put them in the chat. Feel free to turn your camera on, come off mute. This is really, your time to make sure that you get all of your questions answered.
One person just has to start and then everyone else will jump on board.
I
That's
like the
true.
dual FNP educator question. That is like a superstar question. Is there a dual FNP educator track?
There is not.
There is not.
We have a FNP, an MS FNP track and an MS nurse educator track. So you can only get one master's degree and it has to be in one of those tracks.
What might be an option for that prospective student is doing like a master's FNP and then doing our postmaster's educational leadership DMP. That would kind of give you the opportunity to work as a nurse practitioner. And while you did that, you could do our postmasters with a focus on educational leadership that would prepare you to teach.
I see there's a question. Are you encouraged to do internships within your own current organization? So Dr. Tanzillo, Jerry, I'm thinking this is an FNP internship question.
Yes, FMP. Okay. So yeah, my answer to that is in general, it can be a good idea, one, because you're somewhat familiar with like the charting system, and a lot of times that allows you to be able to get in and access and chart in the internship. Sometimes when you're outside of an organization, sometimes you may or may not get access to do that charting aspect of the FNP role. So it can be beneficial in that aspect. And again, one of the benefits when you're within a system that you know is often, if you practiced in that, you kind of know referral pattern. Also, you know kind of who's the good neurologist, who's the good cardiologist, and can really be beneficial for you as the future NP within that system. I'll answer the other question. On the other side of that is sometimes it is difficult to transition from that nurse role into a provider role. It's hard to kind of go from, let's say, if I was the ICU nurse and then I took a hospitalist role in that same unit that I worked. It's possible that sometimes it's hard and there's some role confusion when you had colleagues that worked with you alongside of you, and all of a sudden now you're giving the orders. So that's where sometimes there can be, sometimes I encourage you to kind of go outside that bubble a little bit because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes it's good to see how a different healthcare system functions or does things, and you take the good and the bad and kind of go with that. So kind of a half and half question.
And I'll add to that too that all the internships are in outpatient setting. Um, so you won't be, in the hospital doing your internships 12-hour rotations. And we do not allow you to do your internship within the same unit, or, if you're in outpatient already, we don't allow you to do your internships there with your same, maybe, your supervisor or anything. So that's just wanted to add that as well.
And the internships are also in a variety of different age groups. So because it's a family nurse practitioner, it's along the continuum of life. So you can do it with pediatrics, adults. So it's in a variety of settings. So it's not just in one setting. Then we had a question, do we recommend gaining experience before applying to the FNP program, or is it okay to enter the semester after graduating? Sarah Lyons, you want to tackle that?
Yes, because I was just typing.
Oh, okay.
So we do prefer 1 year of experience working as a nurse prior to applying to the program. So yes, you are welcome to apply a semester out. However, it is preferred and strengthens your application to have at least 1 year.
Then Daisy has a question. Is there any program that includes education and leadership? Yes. So we have in our DNP program, actually, all the programs, MS and DNP, there's a leadership component to it because you are in a leadership role as an advanced practice nurse, as a nurse with an advanced degree. Specific to leadership, we have a BS to DNP with a specialization in educational leadership, a BS to DNP with a specialization in healthcare leadership, and the corresponding MS to DNP degrees in those two specializations as well. Melody, can we do an FNP internship with multiple people or is it just one? I live in a rural area and wonder if there will be internships in my area. So that's a Tanya and
Yeah.
Jerry question.
So Melody, I would encourage, yeah. So multiple people is definitely preferred. Again, because you get to see different ways of practice. We do you can have an internship with an MD or a nurse practitioner. We just don't do PAs at this point in time, just for accreditation reasons at this point, although there are many good PAs, but those are our requirements at this point. I encourage patients to at least be with at least one NP because we think a little different than the medical model and the doctors, but there are many doctors. Again, if you live in an area where maybe there aren't a lot of NPs, that's absolutely feasible. And that's also why we encourage you to look for those internships in your areas. Obviously, around NIU, we have a lot of stakeholders and collaborative arrangements within proximity of here, but that could place you in an internship that's maybe 2 hours from your house, which isn't going to be helpful for you long term either, because you really won't. You're unlikely unless you're going to move. So that's why we encourage you to seek out those internships in those areas. But when push comes to shove, if students are really having a hard time finding something, that is Jerry's role in us helping you find that individual. And we do have, I don't know, Jerry could probably answer a little bit more like kind of the surrounding areas, but I think we go out at least an hour or two out of the DeKalb area. But Jerry, you might be able to answer that a little bit better than myself.
Yeah, we have sites, throughout the whole state. So I'm not sure what area specifically or 4.5 hours, but we have places in, Gatlinburg and, I don't know, but we really start from, an hour to 2 hours out from where you live, if that's feasible. I know the rural areas seem to be not doesn't have as many providers. So, that's just something we would have to look at and where to find a good place for you based on where you're at. But it's not, an hour or two from DeKalb. If you live 4.5 hours, it's more from where you're at in the state that we try to look at. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say in those rural areas, again, practitioners practice very differently. They don't have specialty availability. And so sometimes those students that are in those rural settings really get a fantastic experience because a family practitioner really does family practice, seeing newborn to potentially, internal medicine, where that 65 plus, where in a more metropolitan area, often it's pediatrics versus internal medicine, which is family, so sometimes there's a huge benefit to being in those rural areas. I think you get a great experience in those scenarios as well.
Melody has a follow-up question. What is the criteria for finding your own internship?
So the process is I usually request the students to really look in their area, look around where you're living, if you know somebody, to provide 3 names, and then I review them, and then you reach out to said providers on your list. If they say yes, that's great. We move forward. I help with any type of onboarding paperwork or if an affiliation agreement is needed. If they say no, you're not having any luck, you've kind of hit a wall, then I go to my resources and reach out to providers on your behalf as well. So it really is it's a partnership. So, but there is, the student has to be involved with me to, sometimes it just helps to have the student reaching out too. Sometimes sites are more accepting of saying yes to students versus, a coordinator that is just noise in their ear. So
So Dr. Tanzillo had to step off, so now it's just the rest of us. Any other questions? Anyone want to verbally ask a question? You can ask the students questions too.
I'm so excited to see we have like several students who are starting with us in the fall who joined us today. And it sounds like we solidified their decision. They're
I
glad.
thought I recognized names.
Yeah, I've met with some of them already. So we're glad you guys joined us tonight.
Well, if there are no final questions, um, again, if you would like to redeem an application fee waiver, please reach out to myself or reach out to Corbin or reach out to online@niu.edu and we will help you take the next step in that process. If any other questions come up, feel free to reach out to any of us at any time and we'll be happy to, answer those questions and guide you in the right direction. But again, thank you so much for taking some time on a Wednesday evening to chat with us and to learn more about the program. We hope to see you in future semesters. Have a good evening.